Streaming should be started. Mic should be going. I'm not telling you what kind of game it is. It's a secret game. So we're going to go File, New, SD Portrait, 16 by 9. I'll leave that up there for a second while everybody gets set up. Don't have Construct open.
I had my candy game.
3 demerits.
Not the actual.
All right. Empty SD. It's still on the screen right now. Empty SD Portrait, 16 by 9. So I'm going to create mine. It's in 720p. That's still HD to me.
That is HD.
It's HD, but it's not like Ultra HD. All right. So, like we've always done, Owen, what am I going to do with this layout? Oh, he's getting snarky. Thank you for giving me the answer that's not snarky. What's the answer?
Reset the window size.
Reset the layout size to match the window size. So we're going to copy and paste that 480 by 854 to match up the game, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Whoever's got the volume up, can you mute it?
AJ.
Because you listen to music, or because you have sounds in your games. All right. Anyways, moving on. I'm going to go and make a sprite. It's going to be the background. Size, I know, is 480 width by 854 height. Once I have it set, I'm going to go to 50, 50, 50 for my alpha. Sorry, 50, 50, 50 for my RGB. 255 for my alpha. I don't know why my alpha went down to 0. And I'm putting in that off black color. Size is the size of the layout. This is the background. 480, 854. Okay? You could just look at the period 2 stream, but don't. Come on. It's going to be exciting when you guys figure out what we're doing. You're going to have that aha moment and be like, I know what we're doing. Okay. It could be. All right, so 50, 50, 50 I did for the colors, 255 for the alpha, so it's there. I'm going to get it close to where it needs to be, and I'm going to use the arrow keys to get it the rest of the way. 240 is the X. 427 is the Y. I don't want this being called Sprite. What do I want to name this? Background. You got it. I don't want this to be layer 0. What am I going to call it? Background layer. I'm done with the background for now. I'm going to lock up the layer and make a new one. My new layer is going to be called player layer. All right. So I have my background sprite off black, background layer locked, player layer above it. And I'm going to make a new sprite on the player layer. The size of this one is going to be 20 by 20. The color is going to be my off-white 255, 255, 250 red, 250 green, 250 blue, leaving the alpha at full 255. I think a lot of people, like I've noticed, like how many people I've seen, they've had like kind of transparent objects and they didn't know why. So I think you're going through, you're putting in 250s for each one, so you're lowering your alpha by about like 2%. By going from 250 to 255, so you lower that alpha down and it's not see-through, it's not visible. So it's 20 by 20. It's my off-white, 20 by 20, off-white. Maybe. What? If you want to make a guess. You could mod it to be that eventually, but no, that's not the original intent. Close. All right, so I've got Sprite here. Anybody want to take a guess what I'm going to name this? Place 0. That was a red herring. I'm sorry about that. So I named it Place 0. With it named Place 0, Mitchell.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this like going to be like in like an original Fallout game sort of?
No. Place 0 is I'm going to go over to view. Well, I'm not going to go to view yet. I'm I'm going to, on place 0, I'm going to right-click Clone Object Type. And I named it place 0 because I want place 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay? So here's place 1. Clone Object Type again, place 2. Clone Object Type again, place 3. Clone Object Type again, place 4. Man, it's going to be tough to line all these up nicely, right? Let's go to View tab up on the top. Turn on Snap to Grid and start moving these blocks around a little bit easier. So I'm going to grab each one, keeping them in order 0 to 4, and I'm going to place them 3 clicks apart, starting with the first one about here. Okay?
Wait, so how many of them are there?
There are 5, and I turned on Snap to Grid, and I left Snap to Grid at default, and I'm just placing them 3 clicks apart each. Okay? So, does anybody notice anything off balance about my game right now? It's not centered. If you look at this one right here, it's snapping the grid at 256, and 240 is the midway point. So I'm off by 16 pixels. Ready? I'm going to highlight all of these. I'm going to turn off Snap to Grid, and I'm going to press my left arrow 16 times to move it over 16 pixels and have it be perfectly centered and perfectly spaced apart, 64 pixels each. Okay, so now I have 240, 144, 48, 336, and 432. Does everybody see how that was done?
Yes.
I placed those out 3 grid space clicks apart.
Wait, where's the first one supposed to be?
It's okay that you run out of space. We're going to move it. Don't turn on Show Grid because they're not going to line up on the grid perfectly. That's where mine are on the grid. I turned on Snap to Grid, and I just placed the first one. You want me to see me do it again? All right. So watch if you're having difficulties with these. I have got my 5 places, okay? They're in order in the sense that I go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. They're all in order left to right. They're not aligned vertically yet. I'm going to turn on Snap to Grid. With Snap to Grid on, I'm going to place the first one about here. I'm going to take the second one, overlay it on the first one, and then go 1, 2, 3, snaps away. I'm going to take the third one, overlay it on the second one, and then go 1, 2, 3, snaps away. I'm going to take the fourth one. I'm going to go 1. Then you don't have Snap to Grid on. You don't. Is your Snap to Grid 32 by 32? Then I don't know either. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take my last one, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. So all of these pieces, 20 by 20, are now off by 16 pixels. So I'm going to highlight everything, turn off Snap to Grid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I have these placed about where I want them. 48, I don't care about the Y, I just care that they're down by the bottom. 48 is the X for the first one. 144 is the Y, or is the X for the second one. 240 is the Y for the middle one. 336 is the Y, as the X for the fourth one, and 432 is that for the other one. 48. So you're not supposed to select them all at once. Alright, so let's go to your objects. You've got place 0. Okay. So the size right here is 20 by 20. That's what it's supposed to be. What is our background size? Because I think your background might be off. So if we look at this object size. That's when you know adjust your size. Control C, copy that. Okay, so that's the size you're supposed to work with. Your background is not that size either. Control V to make
Wait, wait.
So that's where yours are. So now we can turn on this thing. Now your 20 by 20 is the right size. It just looks small because your window is huge. Okay? So there's our 20 by 20. You just pick a spot where you like, all right, that one there. All right, now this one here. 1, 2, 3. You can do that. All right, and then adjust to the center. All right. So, everybody else good? All right. So I've got these objects centered. I'm going to make my player now. So I'm going to go to Sprite, insert a sprite on the player layer. Size for the player is going to be 40 by 40. You could make it into Space Invaders with enough work. No, that's the suspense. That's the fun part. This is like filling up my soul that you guys are like so interested in it. Like, what? The size of the player is 40 by 40. The color, I'm sticking with the off-white for now. You'll be able to change colors and sprites and things as you go through. Just stick simple for now. I'm going to paste it in here. And I'm not going to leave it named as Sprite. What am I going to name this?
Player.
Because that's the player. Okay. So, I'm going to move it off the stage for a moment. The platform, the layout. I'm going to move it off the layout. Could be a stage. Could be a highway. Shh. Ooh, it could be that too, yeah. All right. I'm going to go to the event sheet. And before I go to the event sheet, I have to add a touch control. So I'm going to add that touch input object. And then I'm going to go over to my event sheet. And I'm making one event. Okay? One event. And it's going to be touch on touched object. If that object happens to be place 0, then we're going to add an action to the player and set the player position to another object.
Wait, if that happened to be what? Player?
Yep, it's going to be, so the add action is going to be on the player. The player is going to be set position to another object and set it to the object place 0. Okay, so now if I click that little thing, the player goes there. Can I have everybody's, like, just look at the screen. I'm going to go select the entire event and action pair. Control C, V, 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 V. So I have 5 of these here. And I'm just going to right click and do replace objects and use place 1. Right click, replace objects. And place 0 is going to be replaced with place 1. So I'm just going to go 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. So right click, replace objects. Now this is 2. Replace object. This one I have to do 2 selections. I have to say I want to replace place 0 with place 2. Replace object. This one's going to become place 3. Replace object. Place 0, place 3. I'm making you click. How dare I? Place object, place 4. That's a risk I'm willing to take. Because I'll get it too. I'll be right there with you. Okay? So now, let's take a look and see how this game plays now. So now if I run this game, when you're more confident, make your guess. Sure. So now, oh wow, that's actually pretty cool. So now if I click over here, it moves there. This is going to be tough to play on mobile. Like if I click over here, nothing happens. Yeah, because that's the touch. Okay, so we've got that. Let's...
Oh my god, is it the Tap Tap Revolution game? Oh.
It could be. It could be.
I'm gonna make it Tap Tap Revolution.
Well, All right, so we're starting to have guesses that are on the right way. Right now, I'm just calling it lane game because there's going to be things falling down those lanes, and you either hit them at the right time or you avoid them. So this is where this is where you're kind of seeing like, oh, I see the layout, but think about how many places it could go. Somebody said, oh man, Bernard, you're cheating because you're watching the other video. He is cheating right now on period 3. So here's the idea, is that it just was called a lane avoidance game, and I said this is exactly like piano keys, and this is exactly like, it could be a shoot up game like Asteroids, it could be a dodge game, it could be a collect the right color game, it could be Guitar Hero, it could be piano keys, and I'm like, there's so many ways where we can go. I just want to build this and see where we go with it. Okay? That was the other thing, is that yes, we could trade out a keyboard, because if I want it to be like Guitar Hero, I don't want to have to click on those spots. I want to know and then hit the right letters and have it automatically go there.
Roblox simulator.
It could be a roadblock simulator. So, bring it back together, please. What I want to do to right now, to enhance the touch command, rather than having to touch that really small placeholder, place 0 through 4, I want to make a big transparent block behind it so it's easier to click and get it to the right spot. Okay? So we're going to start with that. What?
My second button doesn't work.
Then your second button, you didn't do place 1 and place 1.
Wait, no, it's player. Wait, no,
You got it? All right. So I'm going to go back to the layout, and I'm going to add another layer. This one I'm going to rename function layer. And I'm going to move the function layer to be between the player layer and the background layer. Eventually we're going to turn function layer invisible, so it won't matter, but this is going to help. Now that I have those pieces there, I'm going to make a new sprite called Touch 0 on the function layer. Yep. Size, I'm going to make it about 90 by 225. I haven't named it yet. I just have a size. 90 by 225. I'm going to pick a nice bright color that I won't miss. And I made it 90 by 225, and I just have it here. And all I'm looking to do is I'm looking to line it up similar to like this. Okay? So, I'm going to go and name this now Touch 0. Snap to grid is not on. I'm just lining it up so that it lines up about the center of block, the first block. Okay? Position? What do you mean? Oh yeah, you could, but I'm not going to worry about that. So right now, I'm just doing it by eye, Aiden. So now it's the same process. Right click, clone object type, paste, and now I should have touch 1. And I'm going to put that over the second block. Right click, clone object type. I'm going to put it over the third object block. Right click, clone object type. I'm going to put it over the fourth object block. Right click, clone object type. I'm going to put it over the last object block. Okay? So these are here. Now, I want to go back to my event sheet. And I'm sorry to make you do more clicking, but I wanted you to see the reasoning behind this. I have to right-click on event 1, make OR block. I'm going to do that for every single one right now. Make OR block. Make OR block. Make OR block. Make OR block. So nothing visually changes yet, but what this allows me to do is pick just the event, not the actual whole line. Control-C, Control-V. So now, when it's touched place 0, or touched, and I'm going to right-click and replace place 0 with touch 0. Control C, Control V, right click, replace object with touch 1. Control C, Control V, right click, replace object with touch 3 I'm on, or touch 2 I'm on. Player was 40 by 40, but you can make it bigger if you need. Touch 3, replace object with touch 4. All right, so now I have, it can either be any of these and it's still gonna move it to that place, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna go back to my layout, pick up the function layer, set its opacity down to like 10% just to see how it like disappears. And I'm gonna go and run and see what we have now. We'll see in a moment. So now I should be able to click anywhere around this and have it move around. Mitchell.
I didn't want to close.
Yeah, they could be in a family for right now, but no, you don't need them in a family yet. I did the entire function layer down to 0. So rather than doing each one, I'm just going to say the layer. I just put it at 10 just so you can see what I'm clicking on. Ellie, yours didn't work?
I just did some,
Control C.
What's the name of this game?
my object.
Lane game. Sounds like somebody's doing a save.
No, I like deleted my object bar.
I'll help you out with that. You didn't delete your object bar. You just turned it off. Go to view.
Right, that looks good.
Ah, so you placed them in the wrong order. So we're gonna go to touch 0. Touch 1, touch 2, touch 3, touch 4. Now on here, we have
Hold them to your head. I don't want you breaking my headphone.
Very quiet.
There's your place 0. So there's your place 1, place 2. Rather than moving these around, let's change this. Don't change that. Change them where they go. So,
That's why it's later, really.
quickest way to do this. Place 0 needs to stay at that same line. That's going to be 48 on the X. Okay? Place 1 is going to be at 1. Place 2 is going to be at 240.
You know that if you eat too many apples, you can die. But that one, plug was in water.
Place 3 is 336.
Why did he put
Boy, you lost your phone and now you're suicidal.
Because you have to right click and make it a board block first. Once it's a board block,
I found a new method to blow.
I know there. Until it's a board block, it's 30. If I try to do Control C, it's going to say you can't do it because it can't touch both at once. This one needs to be the entire block. Needs to become a board block. The entire block needs to become a board block. The entire block.
You make a whole
That
block.
was supposed to be a board block, so this one here should have let you do it. The other ones weren't board blocks.
And it comes back, but under another.
It already is in Ortega. Now put just their
Because there's no more. There's no need to show it more there.
Do that same thing with the other ones. All right. So, are we cool with me putting the function layer visibility down to 0 now that you know it's the whole function layer? And then I'm going to lock the function layer for now because I don't think we're gonna need it yet. So,
Wait, can I just make them transparent?
make the layer transparent or make the yeah, you can do that transparent too. All right. Here's what we're going to add next. I'm going to go back to the player layer, and I'm going to add a new sprite. Size is going to be 50 by 50. And for color for this one, I'm going to do orange, yellow, green, blue, red. Okay? So I'm just going to pick an orange in here. I'm going to say that looks orange. It's pretty close. I'm going to change this to 235. I'm going to change this to 95.
Yeah, is this the notes or is this the type of thing?
It could be either. You can make it anything you want it to be. So there's the orange color I'm using. I'm going to paint it in here. So I went with orange 235, 95, 15 because those are easy numbers to get to. Okay? That's this frame. I'm going to go and duplicate, and then I'm going to change frame 2. I'm going to pick a yellow color. I'm going to go 220, 225, and 35. And I'm going to erase everything. Actually, the color for the second frame was just a yellow. I went with 220, 225, 35. And I'm going to go with a brush of like 100. And I'm just going to brush in to make sure that there's no orange left over. All right, I'm going to duplicate this one. And I'm going to pick a green that matches along here. So I click a green. I'm just picking a number and then lowering it to the nearest 5. 100, 210, and 45. There's my green. And I'm going to paint everything green in there. Duplicate. I'm going to pick a blue. I'm going to go with 35, 55, 220. So there's my blue. I'm going to paintbrush everything in there as blue. Duplicate. And I'm going to pick a red. This is animation on this one thing here. 2, 35, 20, and 50. We're going to have 0 through 4, so 5 animations. All right. Pretty simple, right? And yes, these could be notes eventually. These could be collection pieces. These could be enemies. These could be whatever you want them to be. That's why I really looked at this one. I looked through a lot of the other ones. He was building clones of the same game over and over, adding like 3 features or 3 enhancements. I'm like, that's not a new game. That's an enhancement. We did that. This is what I looked at. I'm like, wow, this one goes a lot of places. So this is the last one I wanted to do with you. So now I've got a block. I'm going to name it from sprite to block. Okay? And the size ended up being 50 by 50. So it's bigger than the player. And it's got those 5 things. Oh, the other thing that I have to do. If I play it right now, take a look. What's happening? I just played through my frames. Right? So I'm going to go back over into the animation here. You can do this by a code, but I'm just going to say speed 0. So it's not playing through the frames. Okay? No, I don't want it to loop. I want it to stay on the same one. So, you could make the star power and then just stop the animation when you need. I'm going to go over to the event sheet. And I'm going to add an event. And it's going to be block on created. And I'm going to ask it to... oh, I need some variables first. So block on create, I'm going to leave it there. I'm actually going to make a couple of variables. I'm going to make a, do I want it to be, no, I don't want a global variable. I want an instance variable on block. So I'm going to go to block. I'm going to add an instance variable. This variable is going to be called color variable. 0 through 4, 5. 5 frames total, 0 through 4. So I made a variable called color variable. I don't want to just call it color because then you won't know it's a variable. Okay, so I'm just setting it to color variable. Okay? That's for the block. Okay? So I'm going to go add an action here on the block. So on created, the action will be block will be set instance variable. So set value of color variable. And we're going to go floor of random 0 to 5. 0, comma 5. I'll leave it up here on the screen for a bit. It's floor random 0, comma 5. So that means whenever the block is created, it's going to set the color variable to a random number between 0 and 5. But we're just going to take the floor of that number. So it's always going to round down. So 0.99 will become 0. 0.49 will become 4.
Floor. Oh, it's all in parentheses.
So it's floor, then parentheses around floor, and then there's a parentheses around random.
And there's 2 parentheses at the end.
Yep. And then we'll add another action on here, and it's going to be block set animation frame. Nope, this is another action in this same event. Maybe it's set frame. Set frame, and it's going to be color. Actually, I can't do that. It's self dot color variable. To make an instance variable, go over to the block. Once it's selected, go into the left-hand side. You'll find a tab called Instance Variables. So find the block. It should be up. Scroll up because you named it block. Now, right-click and either add instance variable, and it's there. So it should be set animation to self.color variable. Right now, we're about to run out of time. We're at the point where our blocks will spawn, and the colors will hopefully start to work. So let's give a save project to this. We're going to go File, Save As, and save it as Lane Game, L-A-N-E. You could save it as just tell us what the game is if you're feeling snarky.
I saved it as what is it?
Save as project. What is what?
Wait, what is color?
Color. It's set animation frame to self.color variable. So it's basically going to say go find what the variable is, and it's going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, and so it'll randomly be a color there. And I can test this on the screen by seeing there's my color block when I run it, and I refresh this page with F5 once it's running. So it'll be a random color each time I refresh. So I know it's working, and it's there. David, what's up?
Save it as Lane.